Hello guys, I'm finally catching up on my sketchbook tours. As you can see, this one is from February to July of this year, or 2018. After this, I finished 2 more and started a 3rd, so in total I've worked in 5 sketchbooks this year, which is unreal. I finished 4 of them. 4! Just for context, if you haven't seen my other sketchbook tour video, before this year I'd never finished a sketchbook before. So for me to go from finishing none ever in like the 10 plus years of me making art to finishing 4 in a year and starting a 5th one is just unreal. So I've got some sketchbook tour catching up to do and we're going back in with this one. It's been a really long time since I uploaded a sketchbook tour. The last time I uploaded one was, I think, February. So yeah, let's just get into it. So this is the same sketchbook as my first one that I finished. I'll leave the link to this sketchbook tour either in the description or in one of those little cards. But yeah, this was the first one I finished, and I've done a tour on this and talked all about it. And this is the exact same kind of sketchbook, which is basically just a really cheap one from Officeworks. I think it cost me about $3 or $4. I would highly recommend them if you are just looking to get a sketchbook that's kind of going to hold up to most mediums well enough for you to have a bit of a play. It's by no means the best sketchbook out there, but it's good enough to kind of get you enthusiastic about making art, particularly if you use markers, pens, gouache, colored pencils, Copics bleed, obviously, like most sketchbooks, and watercolor doesn't hold up super well, but again, it's okay, you know what I mean? So anyway, let's do it. This is the very first page. I was just kind of experimenting with white space. I'm pretty sure this is my old gouache, and it's very chunky and clumsy looking, but I still really like the idea, and it's probably something that I'd like to revisit. Every time I flip through my old sketchbooks, I'm like, oh, I was gonna make a full piece out of that. Oh, I was gonna do that. Again, playing with my old gouache. I used to have this set of Reeves gouache. I still do have it somewhere, it's floating around. I keep it for comparisons. You'll see a lot of this in my sketchbook now, and in my future sketchbooks, I paint a lot of stuff like this. If you follow me on Instagram, you will know this already. I like painting kind of abstract, floral, botanical type stuff. This was from a project that kind of fell through, but I might revisit one day. It was inspired by Mark Menjivar's series You Are What You Eat, which was, he took a bunch of photos of inside people's fridges, and I thought that that would make a really awesome illustration series. But I tried to do it digitally, it didn't work. I really like these sketches, and I haven't found a way to transform the clutter and the interest of these images that I drew from the references into something that I've drawn myself, like this original artwork, in a way that I actually like. So it's something that's in the back of my head, lots of these things are, but it's not something that I've been successful with yet. This is my first painting that I did with my new gouache. New, it's not new anymore, it was new back in February. I got the Turner acrylic gouache, and I love it so much. I mean, technically it's not gouache, but you know what I mean. It's gouache mixed with an acrylic polymer. Yeah, basically back at the start of the year, I treated myself to a, I think, 36 tube set of these, and I really, really love them. I still use them all the time, particularly in this kind of illustration. This is a very early version of it, so it's kind of clunky, but the style itself hasn't actually changed this much. It's like flat gouache with lines on top. And then these are just all the swatches of all the colors that I got. Over here is just the color with, I actually don't think I mixed any water into these. I think these were just dry. And then over here I mixed a little bit of water and then a lot of water, just to see if I could water it down and get a watercolor effect from them. And in most cases the answer was no. I guess you would call them granulating, but really they're just speckly, if you can see that. I might do a video on this one day, because I do really love this set and I get a lot of use out of them, and I have a lot of thoughts on them after having used them for almost a year, and it's definitely one of my favorite art supplies that I've used so far. More just playing with gouache. I love this. This was actually, I used a combination of gouache for the leaves and Posca markers, and this got featured on one of the Uni Posca's Instagram accounts, which was really cool. And then this is just playing with that floral style with the new gouache. I love the colors in this set. They're so vibrant. Like, look at all these greens. It's unreal. I love them so much. These are something you'll see a lot of in this book. It's just like sketchy little comics, basically drafts, or just putting down visual ideas for my diary comic for this year. So it's probably not very easy to understand, but to me, I get the references. A couple of sort of garbage art pages. This is garbage, but it's okay. And then this, I was waiting at the garage for David's car, I think, with him. And I was just drawing cars that I saw. And a river. I don't know. I draw a lot of rivers. This is me trying to figure out. I went through this phase of like keeping a commonplace book, but it's just too much work and I don't have time, to be honest. But I still love the idea of commonplace books, but I don't have the time or the space in my brain for it. Also garbage. It's also okay, I guess. And again, more attempts at this kind of detailed note-taking form. I don't come back to this just because it is too much work. This is me trying the gouache again. This one ended up really, really lumpy. I didn't mix enough water into it, but it was really good for like learning how to use this gouache and how it works best. Another one of those little kind of sketchy comic scripts. This is me revisiting that, where is it? This, just repainting the same thing, but with a different art supply. And as you can see, it's so much nicer. In this one, for these bright pinks, I had to actually use an acrylic paint because I didn't have a pink in my original gouache set, whereas this I can use like the bright opera and it's stunning. More gouache play. And then these are some drafts for my diary comic for 2017. I ended up going with neither of these, but I may revisit them because I'm looking at redesigning the cover and kind of re-releasing it next year, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, just some drafts. I actually really like this one with like the map. Just more little gouache things. I really do love gouache. This is another sketchy little comic, but I decided to put color into it and I really love how it turned out. I don't know if I ever posted this anywhere, but I really do like it. A little drawing of Nova. I think this is just with the Tombow markers. And then another gouache kind of doodle. It's my favorite thing to just like essentially doodle with in my sketchbook because it just always looks so vibrant and good. These are just some snake drawings. We went to the library and David read a book and I just kind of chose a book at random and it was about snakes and I drew some snakes. And then this, I think I drew this with, yeah, I did, Copic markers. I only have a couple, but I was trying to draw wattle. I really love how these turned out. I still really love them. I might redraw them and make stickers out of them, honestly, because I think it looks really cute. And then on the opposite page, I just stuck a yellow piece of paper and drew some shitty peaches. So, you know, it's all about balance. This is another diary entry. I felt some things this year. You guys will see it in this year's diary comic. Also, I drew some cherries. I think I drew these with markers. Just trying to see if I could get that flat style with markers instead of gouache. Experimentation. This is kind of similar to the snakes in that I drew frogs from a book and then I tried to go back in and paint it, and neither of them turned out that well. But in this side, I really love this. This is, I went back in and painted leaves just with the scrap of the gouache. And yeah, I love these like mixture color ones. I think it looks really, really nice. Another little sketchy comic script. This, I was just playing with a pattern. I drew this. This is one of the last things I drew before we moved. I remember sitting in the coffee shop waiting for David to do his driving test. And I've got some like, these were all the Tombow markers that I had at the time. And then I was just drawing coffee stuff. Because if you don't know, my day job is a barista. I make coffee, so, you know. And then just this, again, like more introspective diary stuff. This was just before we moved. And this is with a Copic marker. I really like the gradient in this. Then on the other side, this is my attempt at a blob art challenge and I hate it. But I think that's just because of the lack of preparation and also the materials I used. I had this idea to make like a white space thing, but the white, I think it was a Posca that I used on top of it, didn't sit well on the gouache and it just didn't work out. And then this is when we moved. I remember drawing this in a cafe in my first week here in Orange when I was trying out my new job. And it's messy, but I still really love it. And then I didn't draw for ages, like between this and this, I did not draw for so long. This is probably a month in between these two pages. But yeah, shitty little drawings. I had a anthology contribution due a couple months after we moved, and it had a dog slash wolf in it, and I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to draw that. And I drew this and I was like, oh no, it's gonna be really, really bad. And yeah, I was really struggling. I got there in the end. It's actually one of my favorite comics I've ever drawn. It was for the Hellcat anthology, The Screams Heard Around the World, but yeah, so it worked out in the end, but I was really scared for a bit there. This is an apple. Again, I'm coming home to this style of like blocky graphic colors and then clear lines to guide the shape and give it a specific style. I just really like it. This is some leftover paint. I do this a lot with leftover paint. If I'm painting something bigger and I have leftover paint, I don't like to just let it dry. I just open up whatever sketchbook I have handy and splat it down, and I really love how this turned out. It's very like oceany and really, really pretty. I might scan this and try and do something with it because I really, really love it. These are the thumbnails for that Hellcat anthology comic. I had a pretty clear idea of what I was doing actually. It didn't really change much from this thumbnail to the final. I got really lucky with this anthology. I had a really clear idea of what I wanted. It was just a matter of learning how to draw dogs, pretty much. More diary and more like mindless doodles. I was really, really busy and it was really, really stressful to move. We had a lot of dramas with like our old real estate and stuff. It was the worst. And then this is just me trying to remember how to draw. I don't like either of these, but it's kind of necessary to make like this like bad art to kind of find your way back to what you like making. Again, kind of more bad art, and then a couple things that I do like. Like I really like this self-portrait. I think that's really cute. But everything else on this page I hate, as evidenced by the yuck yuck. And again, this is probably all drawn on the same day, to be honest. All these ones. I was just really... God, people have some loud cars in this town. This is just me trying to find my way back to art. I was really frustrated because I wasn't drawing a lot, and I just wanted to come back to it. And then again, I probably did this all on the same day, I think. I really, really love this. This got featured on something on Instagram as well. And I love this kind of border. It worked out really, really nicely. More little sad self-portraits and just doodling while I watched TV. That really helped me get back into drawing. Drawing a lot of these random botanical shapes and just random people. I really like this girl. I don't know what it is. I think it's the pen that I drew her in, but I really, really like it. And then this is kind of the past few pages all coming together into this, which I actually really love. This was me trying out those shapes as I went along, but this is kind of like the main deal, and I just love it. I love the colors. I love the materials I use. It's like a combination of gouache and Tombow markers and maybe Posca pens. I think this pink is a Posca pen. And then from here you can see it kind of almost exploded, like my confidence, and I just wanted to draw heaps. So you'll see a lot of these like messy, confident pages, more diary stuff. And this was me trying to draw a forest at night. It did not work out, but I really like the colors. It just doesn't look like a forest at night, so there you go. Again, I probably left like a good month or so between all these few pages. I kind of fell away from drawing again. And then this is how I always come back to it, just with like these abstracty, colory shape things. I feel like it gets my brain moving a lot. This, I think I drew half of these from Pinterest and half of these from my brain. I'm pretty sure I used a reference for this ballerina girl. But this dude I came up with on my own. This is maybe a self-portrait, and this is just from my brain as well, so get some rest, you're gonna need it. I like writing little motivational messages to myself in my sketchbook. Another river. Really like drawing rivers. Never drawn a finished river. Oh. Postage receipt. Yeah, I've never drawn a finished one. Maybe I should. And another little motivational thing. More flowers. These aren't my favorite, but it kind of helps to get my brain going. This, I started watching Twin Peaks again, and I probably will again next winter. It's my winter TV show. I just love it, and I love Agent Cooper, he's the best. More leaves. I actually love how these turned out. I think I did this with gouache again, just really watered down gouache. And just some more leaf shapes. This is just a more refined version of that Dale Cooper sketch. I ended up inking this and putting it on my wall. You might have seen it in my like studio tour. This is me trying out a blue pencil. I used to really love drawing my comics in a non-photo blue pencil, but the one that I used to have, I think I might have thrown it out, so I can't show you, but it was an old Prismacolor one that I got off Amazon, but it was really pale. You could not see it at all, so it was basically useless to me because it meant I was drawing blind. I mean, yeah, it didn't show up when you scanned it, but it was also invisible to the naked eye, so it wasn't the most useful. This was a Lyra colored pencil that I do like. It's not my favorite. Like when I got the Prismacolor one later on, the Prismacolor Premier pencil, I like this much better, but they are essentially the same color. They're both like a non-photo blue type color. Just more sketches. I'd just recently gotten a gold ink. I don't even know if you can really tell. I was just playing with it, and this was around the time You Are Here was getting finished, so I was just doodling for that, trying out new art supplies, all that sort of stuff. I was really stressed. I had so much going on. It was a lot. It was a lot. And you can see that in my sketchbook. This is just some abstract fruit that I drew upside down. I'm not sure why it's upside down, but there you go. And then this is something else I drew from a library book. It's not my fave, but I like this exercise. This again is from a library book. I like this a bit more, but again, that's not really the point. The point is just to draw stuff from a reference and enjoy yourself. So this was from a book about weapons. There was a carbine axe, which is an axe gun with a bayonet on the top, which is probably the best thing I've ever seen in my life. It was very cool. And this was some notes for a submission I was going to do to Pastel magazine, and I ran out of time, but they had a green issue and I was going through a real green phase, as we can see here. I did some thumbnails, but in the end I didn't end up finishing it. Again, some doodles, just mindless color stuff. I had this image in my head. This is just a color thumbnail essentially for a book cover, but I don't know what the book would be, and that wouldn't be the name of it. I don't know. I don't know what was in my head, but I just needed, you know when you have those ideas and you're like, oh, I gotta get this out before I forget. More just prep for that pastel submission that didn't end up getting finished. Just trying out some ideas for a Please Do Not Bend sticker, and just trying out some new style stuff. I went through this phase where I wanted to give people eyelashes, and I still sometimes do it, but I think it looks really cool and like these iris shapes, and I really like this girl. I'm not really sure what I like about her, but I do really like her. Another blob challenge. Some of these turned out okay. I like this dude and my happy yellow man. The rest of them are a bit how you going, but I think every time I try this I get a little bit better at it. And then this is just some drafts for some stickers, just trying out ideas. These are drafts for stickers for You Are Here. I ended up making these ones. I think I've got a more concrete version of drafts in here somewhere. And then this is just thumbnails for the cover again. Over here, more notes, just trying to work out what I was going to include in the intro and all that sort of stuff. That middle page I'm just going to keep separate because it's a list of addresses for people that I wanted to send it to, so not gonna show you all that. But this is just some more floral doodles. I really love these. I just love filling up a page with just doodles and colouring them in. And I got some Prismacolor pencils, as you can see. And I also got my first Sakura Pigma pen. Obviously I love them both, and I use them both all the time now. These are cut out from an old sketchbook that I was throwing away because these were all I had in it. Just some sticker designs for one day when I eventually get my ish together and open up an Etsy shop. More doodling with the Prismacolor pencils. Yeah, I love these colors together. I had these three in the beginning and that's all I had, and it's perfect. And then, oh, these are the finals for the stickers that came out with You Are Here. More color pencil blending and diary entries on each splodge. I had a little to-do list and this little cute little girl. We're getting pretty close to the end. These little, I think these are meant to be oranges. I liked them a lot more than I do now. When I put this black line around them, I just started to really hate them. This, however, I love, and I still want to like make this into a real, a real artwork, a finished artwork. yeah, I really do like this, and it's a message that I really need to hear a lot. And this is the last page. I was watching a lot of Life Below Zero when people live in like remote Alaska. It's a really dodgy drawing page. Foxes, can't draw them. And then this I just stuck in the envelope from a Cheyenne Barton order that I made. The postage receipt is covering up my address, so you know, don't mind that. But I just thought the envelope was really cute and motivating, so I stuck it in. And that is this sketchbook. Thank you for joining me on the flip through. Yeah, I would really like to know your thoughts about finishing sketchbooks. How did you go with it in 2018? Was it like a priority of yours? Because not everybody prioritizes it, like everyone's doing different stuff. Did you find that it helped your practice, or did it distract from it? I think a lot about it, whether I'm like distracting myself with filling up a sketchbook as opposed to making finished work. I think I did a lot of that in 2018, but then again, filling up so many sketchbooks really improved my like artistic skill and practice over time. So it definitely has value, but sometimes I think I can use it as a distraction. But it is fun to flip through, and it is, they're really good snapshots of my brain. It's just become such a nice tool for me to capture my feelings and thoughts and interests in a non-verbal way a lot of the time, in just this visual way. Thank you so much for watching and for joining me on this flip through. I hope it was interesting and you got something out of it, and I will talk to you very soon. Have an awesome day.